And Mitt Romney may be leading in the GOP presidential polls, but there are increasing signs he's got a Tea Party problem. We'll take a fair and balanced look.
Welcome back. New fundraising reports show Mitt Romney is cementing his role as the Republican frontrunner in the 2012 presidential race so far. But polls show that he's having trouble winning over key groups within the Republican Party, like members of the Tea Party movement, like evangelicals. So what does Romney need to do to win his party's nomination? Let's bring in Margie Omero, who is a Democratic pollster and the president of Momentum Analysis, LLC. And Adam Geller is with us as well, a Republican pollster who has served as a pollster for the New Jersey governor, Chris Christie. It's good to see you both. And Adam, since you're the Republican on the panel, let me start with you. Mitt Romney raking in the dough. Why? Why is he getting all this cash?
Well, he's raking in the dough and he's getting all this cash because he has an enormous network throughout the country. You know, he has the benefit of having run before. He's made a lot of great relationships even prior to 2008, but he kept running and he kept on, you know, he kept his relationships intact, and he has got a networking operation out there beyond compare.
Margie, as a Democrat looking in, what do you make of the Romney fundraising machine?
Well, certainly he's running an efficient operation, certainly when it comes to fundraising. But I think it's still important to look at the bigger picture of what actual Republican primary voters think. And this is the first time in 40 years that there's no clear Republican frontrunner. And more than in past years, Republican primary voters are saying they're dissatisfied with this field. So Romney may be raising more money than some of the other candidates in the field. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Republican primary voter is going to be engaged.
Well, in fact, though, when you look at the polling, Romney leads in most of the polling that we see out there. I would argue that that technically speaking, Mitt Romney is the front runner. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, with the fundraising that he's doing and the fact that he's leading in the polls, at some point you consider him the front runner. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, mind you, but you know, it's okay to call him the front runner because that's exactly what he is.
You're not buying that, Margie?
Well, you don't take my word for it that he's not the front runner. That's what Gallup says. I mean, a lot of polls show undecided in the lead, and he may lead some of the other candidates who are new to the game. But for someone who's this well known, who's run before, who's stayed in the public eye, as you mentioned, for him to have not really garnered a lot of enthusiasm says something about his candidacy. Well,
you know, I'm looking at the Gallup poll. I'm looking at a bunch of different polls. Here's the problem with the Tea Party. The problem with the Tea Party is there isn't one Tea Party. There's a bunch of little fiefdoms, and they can't decide who the anti-Romney candidate is going to be. So what's going to happen is some of them are going to back Bachmann, some of them are going to back Palin, some of them are going to back Paul, and they're going to end up diluting their strength. And that is also going to actually play into Romney's favor. By diluting their strength, there is no, you know, clear opposition to Romney. You have guys like Tim Pawlenty, a strong candidate for sure, but he's got to get some juice and he's got to play his way into the game.
Margie, anybody in the GOP field right now, declared or not, because we're still hearing that Rick Perry may jump in the race later on this summer, anybody whose name has even been floated out there who scares you as a Democrat, who you think might actually beat President Obama?
Well, I look at this, I mean, I'm looking at the Republican primary as a really very different fight from the general election debate. And when when a swing voter is watching, a swing voter's not really watching the back and forth. And when they see or hear about some of these candidates debating whether or not global warming is happening, whether or not, they're deciding to flirt with birtherism for a few months, whether or not Sarah Palin or Donald Trump are really credible candidates to lead the country, these are the kinds of things that are just so far outside what the average swing voter whose kids are coming out of school, who's thinking about the economy and how things are going. These kinds of debates are just so far removed from that. So I think any candidate.
Is there anybody? Can you give me a name?
Well,
anybody who has the best shot at beating the president?
Well, here's what I see. Who has the best shot? I mean, Romney seems to be doing well in terms of fundraising, as you mentioned. Yeah. Pawlenty hasn't caught fire. Pawlenty hasn't caught fire as much as I thought he might. But there's still time. And what we can, I think, all agree on is that things are going to change dramatically between now and November of next year.
Adam, give me a name real fast. We're almost out of time. You guys, you and your Republican buddies get together. You have a beer. Who's the name?
Anybody but Obama. That's the answer. It's all about the economy. You can take Mitt Romney. You can take take Tim Pawlenty. You can take Michelle Bachmann. Anybody but Obama. You know, Margie talked about the swing voters. Independent voters right now, Barack Obama's job approval 40%. That ain't going to cut it in the general election. You know that, Margie. You're a pollster.
Adam Geller, Margie O'Meara, thank you both for coming in on a Saturday. Good to talk to you.
Thanks.
Thank you.